Hey everybody, welcome to another Digital Making at Home live stream from the Raspberry Pi Foundation. I'm Mr. C. I'm here with Christina.
Hello,
How
everyone.
are you doing?
Good. How are you doing today?
Yeah, really thanks. Quite excited. I understand my baby might be on the way very soon, so that's nice.
So I'm noticing a
I'll
little
sneak
bit of
in after the
lag
live
on
stream
your
and
side,
say
Mr. C. A little bit of lag on your side.
lag from me. Oh, okay. I'm not
Yeah.
sure what that might be. I'll check my computer. But yeah, no, I'm good. What's happening with you in America?
In America right now, I had to help. My neighbor's dogs got out, so I just got literally right before this. I was like, I've got a stream to get to, folks. Let's get in the backyard. So they're in. Everyone's safe. Everyone's where they need to be. But yeah, nothing too much. Just I'm lucky to be able to. I'm at home and here, and happy to meet some friends today.
Amazing, right? We've got some really cool guests today. We've got Dr. Carlos Lugoveles from the university here in Cambridge, and he does some really cool, interesting work on plant science and stuff like that. I'm going to talk to him about how he used the Raspberry Pi in a lot of his plant science experiments, and like how my favorite one is his flower pollination one. I can't wait to have a chat with him about it. Yeah, very interesting.
And then I know we have Jordan joining us to do some code later on, so I'm really excited to code with her.
Yeah, so, and we're going to make like the game with the gifts, right? It's like 3-card Monty.
Concentration game.
It's like keep your eye on the prize, right? Yeah, that's cool. That's going to be really fun as well.
Yeah, and I see folks saying hi to us from. We have someone from Tunisia. Thank you so much. I don't know Chafia. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Hope I'm saying it correctly. Thank you for joining us. See Ali from Iraq. Thank you so much. Let us know where you're joining us. What's amazing about these streams is we get to connect with folks from all over the world. I'm in the United States. I'm actually in Nebraska. And Mr. C, tell folks where you're at.
Well, I'm in Cambridge in the United Kingdom, home of the Raspberry Pi. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. If you've got any questions or comments as well, guys, please make sure you post them in the comments or in the chat so that we can get them and we can reply to you and we can pop them up on screen. If they're really great questions for Carlos or for Jordan, then we can bring them up and we'll talk about them with him. So make sure you put them in the chat if you do have anything like that.
Awesome.
Should we see if Carlos is there? He should be in the background, I think. He should be hanging out. Carlos.
Hello. Hi.
How's it going?
Hello. Very well. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Really good. Thanks, man. No, we're great. Yeah. Very excited to have a chat with you today. It's really great that you can come on stream with us, mate. Thank you for coming along.
My pleasure, always.
So could you explain for the viewers, like you work at the University of Cambridge, right? You do research there at the university.
That's right, yes.
Could you explain what it is that you look into and sort of like what just an overview of what it is that you study?
Yes. Well, basically what I do is, I belong to the group of evolution and development in the plant science department. So everything that has to do with evolutionary traits in plants, the development in plants, that could be leaf formation, petal structure, plant pollination interactions, I am interested in at the minute. So that means I do a lot of mathematical modeling, I do a lot of experiments, and as completely on plant side aspect of my job was to also develop a lot of machines to measure things in plants, which you will see in a minute. It's very funny.
Wow.
Excellent. That's super cool.
That's really neat.
So you say you develop like machines to do measuring of things. Yes. What sort of measurements would you take, and what kind of machines have you developed? I know there's one I want to talk to you about, which is the variable time camera. Like we'll get into that in a little bit. I love that thing. That's super cool.
Yes. Yes, sir. Sorry. Well, all sorts of machines, like mostly, plants react to the environment, right? So in order to carry out systematic research of how these plants respond to the environment, we need to mimic the environment itself. It could be machines that induce a mechanical stimuli in a plant, or it could be a chamber that changes the temperature or the light conditions of the plant, the humidity, basically every physical field surrounding the plant we can in the laboratory mimic in a controlled way, so we can therefore study the response of a plant to a given condition, to close relatives of that plant to that given condition, or even trigger evolutionary changes in very, very fast scales at that, but in a very controlled way. So yeah, if you want, I actually do have some slides I could share so you can see.
Yeah, totally. Yes, please. Yeah,
that'd be amazing. Thanks. Yes, okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me see. How do I do that?
So down the bottom of your screen, you should see a little button that says share screen. If you just pop that one up, it'll ask you what you would like to share. You should be able to choose your slide deck.
I can see it. Let me see.
And then Mark behind the scenes, he can help us out so we can get it set up. Yeah. Carlos,
cool.
It's really neat to hear you talking about your work with plants, because I taught middle school science and specifically 7th grade for a bit. And we did so much stuff about biology and life science, and kids had pet plants. And I just wish I could have had you as a guest in my classroom for them to see what does it look like to then take it to the next level. So I'm excited for kids and teachers who are watching now, for them to be able to show students, like, if you love plants, if you love science, this is what a future career could look like.
That's correct. That's correct. Hopefully a lot of viewers would find this engaging and decide to take the plant science path in their lives. So can you see my screen now? Yes, perfect. Okay, well, very quickly, I'm just going to tell you what this is all about. So what we want to do is understand and predict and identify all these patterns in nature, right? So we have a lot of questions that are perfectly legitimate, like why is the sky blue? Why do leopards have spots and lions do not have spots? How do opinions in a community change? Or how do molecules form a gene? So in order to do that, the research that we carried out use the tools of the fields of sciences that we know, like physics or chemistry. And our ultimate objective is always validating these theories or to understand the results of an experiment. So to do so, we can write the equations, or we can postulate an assumption. But in order to solve those equations or to test these assumptions in silico or in theoretical way, we really need the help of computers. So today, I'm just going to talk about very briefly I want to talk about some projects that make use of computing that is beyond web development or app development. It's the use of computer work in computational work in the research environment, right? So let me show you very quickly. I'm going to cover.
So
yes.
Before we move on, Carlos, just to clarify something. So what you're talking about here is, like, rather than using computers for web development or to make a robot or to design a machine, like, you actually use it as a very powerful brain that can do loads and loads of maths all at once.
That's correct.
Right?
That is correct. Yes, that is correct.
That's amazing. And so you use the brain power of the computer, like, again, just to like clarify one more thing, just to make sure I'm right. You have an idea, like a question, and you take the things that we know about science based on the rules of physics and chemistry, and you apply this massive brain to doing all that maths for you. Is that right?
That is correct. That is absolutely
cool. I get it.
Correct.
Wicked.
Thank you, Mr. Cleve.
No, that's cool. I just want to make sure that I was right, like, because this is amazing stuff. I don't want to get, you know what I mean? It's cool. It's wicked.
Modeling and processing. It's so cool.
This is actually a very, very pertinent question, because we could use computing, as we mentioned, from a Raspberry Pi, very, very small, self-contained unit, to a massive cluster. So it all depends on which problem you're trying to tackle, the choice of platform that you use. But let me tell you something, the programming, it is the same in everything. It doesn't really matter the size of the computer. You can program your code in your Raspberry Pi, sometimes even in your mobile phone, and then just deploy it in the computer of your choice. It's actually, we live in very exciting times at the moment. We have access to all these sort of infrastructures. So basically, what I'm going to tell you here is a very, very basic problem. So here in my screen, I'm showing you a sequence, right? That is what we can read from chemistry. That is a sequence of amino acids. And those amino acids, in order to attain some biological function, need to form a structure. That structure is what is called the phenotype. So the genotype would be the sequence of genetic information, which is this word, and the phenotype is the structure they fold once the optimal, let's say, energy configuration of the chain it's obtained, you get this function, right? So I'm showing you here a bunch of little examples of proteins and molecules. They are all formed by these units at the top, the primary structure, right? These are the amino acids. They form all these chains, and then these chains fold and forming this very complex structure. In the case of the right is an RNA structure, which it folds into this very, very funny helix-shaped structure here, which has the advantage that in itself, in terms of loops and ladders, you can write it as a word as well, as it's written here. So we basically have a mapping from one word into another, which simplifies things quite a lot because it's just a matter now of translation. So if you find an adequate translation, you can understand what's going on.
So does the genotype that you've got define the phenotype often? So in the sense that the information that it gives you, that's the list of letters like those, the amino acids in a row, that genotype, the GGGCUA.
Yes.
If you have a different set of letters, will it make the same shape, or will it make a different shape? Or if you have the same...
Oh, excellent question. Yes, well, sometimes it will give you the same, sometimes it won't. That is actually the trick. Yes.
Amazing. And so is that, and that's what the modeling is for, I guess, then, right? That's why you would use all this modeling, and you do multiple runs of the same models. You would get the computer to think about the shapes that those letters could take, produce all the shapes for you, and you would do look at the number of different shapes you would get. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
So basically what you're trying to quantify is you can compute all the words possible, all the words possible given an alphabet, fold them, and see how many different structures you get. What you will find out is that many of these structures give you the same structure or the same phenotype, and some others will give you different phenotypes. But what's interesting here is that by mutating one character at a time, you can perform an evolutionary trajectory, right? So point mutations would sometimes keep you in the same structure, sometimes they will take you away from it. This network that I show here is for the amino acids. The color is the amino acid. The little circles there are the codon or the sequence. And as you can see, many of them
right. And they're all groups of 3 letters, aren't they? They're all groups of 3 individual letters. So you might get CAC, and then you get another one that will be UCT, and then they combine in small groups of 3 to make different shapes. Is that right? And we can look at RNA shapes using the computer to just spell them all out for us.
That's right.
That's wicked.
One of the things that is very interesting about this diagram is that you can see a lot of complexity and a lot of things going on, and we are only using an alphabet of length 4. Yeah. And the length of the word is 3, and you can see all this complexity. This actually gives you 21 different structures. So 64 sequences fold into 21 structures. So, and you can then, these are examples of a single amino acid chosen. So you can see the possible mutations that take you out of it or keep you in it. So you can see that one amino acid doesn't necessarily goes to all the other amino acids. You need to carry out or perform more than one mutation in order to reach different sets of amino acids. You are only connected to a small subset of all the possible amino acids that you get. Now, in order to facilitate this, one of the things that we do that with the computer, but then we can also make a little browser to explore the topology, the topological properties, and the probabilities associated to these mutations to take you in and out one amino acid to another. So that is one of the things that you can actually carry out very, very easily doing a little bit of coding.
So that's a 3D model of all of the different amino acids and how they link to each other, right? So when you roll up and we can see them linking through the shape to all the different kinds of ones, they're all the different connections that they make, yeah?
That's right. Actually, for the viewers, maybe they will find this interesting. I don't know if they have been presented with this before. This is the genetic code. This is a very different representation of the genetic code that you have been probably exposed before. This is a more contemporary approach of how genetics is taught nowadays at university in terms of a network of codons and amino acids. So this is the network of life, if you want. Every single organism that is alive on Earth has its origin in this little network, and you can study all its properties and carry out a lot of very cool research using this.
That's awesome. That's super interesting.
Very,
and
very nice.
And like you would do, this is all done in JavaScript?
Yes, well, you can do all the genetic variants of words and things in any program of your preference, like C, Scratch, Python, but the visualization is all done in JavaScript for, well, you can deploy this on the web browser, right? Any web browser can deploy this sort of 3D shapes if you use JavaScript, but you can use any other visualization toolkit of your preference. Just this particular one was done in JavaScript. Yes.
That's super cool.
So it gives you all the information that you require, your codon, your amino acid, your neighbors, and the amino acid neighbors that you can get. Now, let me just, to complete this, I'm going to show you now the case of RNA and how do computers play even a more relevant role in the case of more complex molecules like RNA. Why? The reason is just a matter of volume. Here I'm showing you again the same sequence of nucleotides that I had before and the respective structure that is formed. These structures are formed by pairing these letters U with C, G with C. There are some rules that chemistry gives you that tells you which ones are paired with what. And then computing the energy of the most optimal structure, that is a structure that you predict this particular sequence is going to take. Now, when you do this is, for instance, an example for words of length 8. You can see that the complexity of the network, these are just two different RNA structures linked to each other, but you can see that the intrinsic topology, it's way, 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 way more convoluted. And the reason is because you have lengths that are longer, so now you have more possibilities of single point mutations, more neighbors, etc. So now your little nodes would be composed by every dot here in the subnetwork in blue represent a sequence. All the sequences that are linked together are linked by one mutation, and the circle that is encompassing them gives you the phenotype. So all those guys that are there inside each circle belong to a different secondary, a different protein, a different folding, but it's all the same. There's a lot of redundancy in that respect. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to show here like the length 12 for RNA. So I computed all the words of nucleotides for length 12, and that gives you this number here, which is like actually a very big number, right?
Big number, yep.
And that tells you all the sequences that you need to know. Now, you fold all those sequences, and you find out that there are only 50 structures that are robust, that actually appear in nature, which is like actually remarkable. This is a phenomenon called robustness. So living organisms and proteins and phenotypes are very, very robust to mutations. And that's a very good thing, because you don't want a mutation of any kind to give you a different structure. So otherwise we'll be mutants all over the place. However, we are not. We are very, very robust. Plants are very robust. Every time a plant gives or pollinates and gives gets a next generation of plants every spring, you get the same plant. You get plants that look exactly the same. They don't start to look all yellow or purple.
Suddenly they're instantly like blue or something weird like that. Yeah, that's cool.
So that's one of the things that we can do with computing. These are some stats that you can get. But all this is computational work that you do in a big cluster, for instance, right? Because the sizes of the words, this is not a computationally intensive problem, but a memory intensive problem, right? You have to store all these structures and analyze the topology that emerge. So you can do this in your Raspberry Pi or in your laptop if you want, but you need a very, very, very big hard drive to store all this information.
And a very long time to let it process all of your maths.
That's right. So
that's the difference, I guess, between the computers you have at the university and the Raspberry Pi that like kids use at home, is that your computer is basically just a massive, enormous machine, right? It's like it's like giving someone the keys to like an enormous dump truck to move dirt, as opposed to the little car that they have at home.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. However, the coding skills exactly the same.
Amazing. That's really, really cool.
Now, I'm going to show you now something that you can do with your Raspberry Pi at home, right? This is very easily. This is regarding how chemicals work. Chemicals working in plants or in some solution in the lab. They do tend to perform chemical reactions. And these chemical reactions are yet again governed by some rules that you can write in form of equations. Now, these equations are very, very simple. In this case, I'm showing you X, Y, and Z represent one reactant. They react with each other, and they do oscillate. So you produce one molecule, the second molecule depends on the number of the other molecule, and then if there's a lot of that, then you start to carry out a production of more molecules, and so on. So on, you oscillate from up and down. Yes.
So does that mean then that the lines we're looking at are the amount of X, Y, and Z?
Yes, the concentrations. Yes.
Right. Okay, and that's how they react with one another to make molecules. So if I dumped X, Y, and Z into a bucket, those lines are showing me how quickly they make links together in order to become molecules. Is that right?
Exactly. They oscillate. The numbers go up and down, depending on the number present at a given time. That's correct.
Yeah. That's super cool.
They do oscillate, right? But the same reaction set, just changing one parameter, let's say a variant of the molecule or the reactant, it could lead to a dynamic behavior, which is like this. Exactly the same rules, but a tiny variant in the concentration or a little parameter. It could be the volume of the system, or the temperature, and it will take the system into a very, very chaotic regime. So these equations, of course, are very simple, but very nonlinear. So yet again, what we need to do is to put these rules in the computer, use the tools that we have available to solve those equations, and then we can analyze all the possible scenarios given a set of reactions that we can actually obtain. And given this, then we can start to understand phenomenon that happens in nature, such as circadian rhythms, which are the rhythms that control grow. For instance, you grow more at night than you grow up during the day because the temperature and the light conditions are different. So there are promoters that work better at low temperatures and low illumination. So these sort of rhythms, you can tinker with them a little bit, and they can actually do this very striking sort of behavior, right? One of the cool things about these things is that they obey rules that we know, and you can actually build them, if you understand them well, in at home. I want to show you that I've done this with a little circuit that I made. I'm going to show you this video. So, and you get the same system actually made completely synthetic. So I don't want to overstep here my prediction, but this is basically essentially the basis of our capability to build artificial or synthetic organisms like the artificial hearts or artificial limbs. They obey these rules, and if you understand it at a chemical level, then you can translate them at a mechanical level. It is actually amazing. I want to show you.
It's taking all the trial and error out of doing really complicated science experiments, right? Like basically you just get the machine to run a pretend experiment 1,000,000 times and then see what the output is.
That is right. But it is also very interesting that you can run all possible scenarios.
Yeah.
So you can run over all the possible set of options and then choose the one that fits your purpose to actually come up with a machine or a result that you want. Here I'm showing you some of the circuits that I built that mimic that oscillator that I showed you. I basically put them in Tupperwares, but they're actually very, very neat experiments that allow you to do that translation between organic and synthetic.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm just gonna close this over, showing you some other projects about the machines that I make in the lab.
Amazing. I mean, we're kind of running out of time. Like, I would love to chat more about this, Carlos, but I mean, we've got Jordan waiting. We're going to do some code with her, but I mean, this is incredible stuff. Like the idea that you take the laws of physics and the laws of chemistry and biology as we understand them, and apply a computer to those rules 1 billion times to see what it outputs. And the idea then that instead of having to make the lab hot in order to change the context for your experiment, for example, you just change the parameters of the code and it just does the whole thing for you in a different way. Like that
is very powerful. It is very, very, very interesting. Yes. Okay, well, so I guess that'll be it. I just want you to point out to the last bit of the plant pollination interaction. I have
my favorite one.
We with the Raspberry Pi Zero, we enclose them and send them to South Africa in vast amounts. We put like an array of 30 or 40 Raspberry Pi cameras and deploy them in the desert to collect a vast amount of data that we can analyze using machine learning methods or any methods of your preference. Here's the setting, to, again, using Tupperwares, to quantify how pollinators, in this case bees or flies, interact with certain type of daisy that only grows in South Africa. We have this little Hackster link. I don't know if you can maybe share it later. And we have all the instructions so people can actually build them in their own garden and collect data for their own amusement. You can put them in all sorts of cases.
Super
and
I saw that Tupperware. I have that Tupperware.
Yeah,
me too. Tupperware's the best.
Tupperwares always works. They're waterproof, they're pretty, so very stylish. So there you go. So we send them to South Africa, and they work actually very, very well. We got like a petabyte of data out of this experiment. So that is another thing that I collaborated, because in this case, the coding involved was to automate these things. Let the Raspberry Pis to sleep on the night. When the time is right, they will wake up, they will start to take measurements, record videos or time lapses, collect the statistics, let them go to sleep in the night, recharge them, and so on for like 15 days. So we have a very, very nice blog entry about this in this Hackster project. So if people are interested in this, they can go and read it, and actually I think they're going to love it. That's all I have for now. I'm going to stop sharing this. I don't know if anybody has any questions or not, but that's me, done.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Carlos.
Amazing.
That was just really incredible. Yeah, to see like what is happening. I've been pretty removed from the science base from college, so like you said, like it's very different. Like the models that you are showing are very different than what I saw in college, and I'm processing right now.
It's amazing. Very cool. And I mean, how did you get into that, Carlos? How did you like start coding? Like, did you start when you were very young?
I started very young, yes, at school, really. Somebody actually said, well, there's this new course, a summer course on programming basic, I remember. Would you be interested? And I said, well, why not? And I started to program in BASIC, and I was very, very interested in computer graphics. So that was my very, very first program. After then, I stopped coding or having really much interaction with computers till I got into my undergrad degree, and I was exposed to all these beautiful fractals and chaos and those beautiful images generated by computers. At the time, Toy Story, the first Toy Story came out in the cinemas, and it was all computer generated. So I thought, oh, I want to get into this. So that's when I came back to do like more professional programming.
Yeah, awesome. It shows in your work. So is that how it led you through to doing all these amazing models and things? You started at computer graphics because that was your interest, and now you've moved through doing like amazingly hardcore science.
That's true.
Awesome, dude.
It's still cool. my passion.
That's very cool. Did you think when you started doing computer graphics as a kid that you would end up doing this with it?
No way.
No way. That's wicked. That's so cool. Thanks for coming today, Carlos. It was wicked to have you along, man. So interesting, all that science and stuff.
Well, thank you. My pleasure, and enjoy.
Yes, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you.
See you later. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Wild. That's amazing. That's like cutting edge, crazy like level science, right?
Yeah, that was, you know what, I had something I hadn't thought about in a long time. Was in high school, I actually did a science fair experiment on fractals and chaos theory. Like, I should have mentioned that. Could have looked cool in front of Carlos.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really neat. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
I'll share my Scratch project with you that draws Sierpinski triangles.
Oh yeah,
so draws fractals in Scratch.
Definitely. Speaking of, did you do your homework from last week for the fruit salad? Did you get a chance to? I know it's been a busy week.
I didn't, I'm afraid. It's been a mad, hectic week for me. I didn't get to do it. But what I will do is I will have the project and I will share it with you so you can share it next week. Or I'll do a short clip for you. I'll do a short clip of the project.
And then you'll still be featured. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, I did. I worked on I made it like a fiesta art taco salad. It was a lot of fun.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you want to share it? Are you going to show us later?
I can show us later. Let's bring Jordan on. She's been really patient.
Yeah, totally. She's been hanging out. Yeah, totally. Jordan, how's it going?
Hi. How are y'all?
Good, thanks. Great to see you.
Welcome. Well, Jordan, can you share a little bit about yourself, just for the folks who are watching? Where are you joining us from?
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. I'm 17 years old, so I'm a senior in high school, and I just started doing my first coding course this year.
What kind of coding?
I'm using a project through Apple. I think it's like Swift. And
okay.
Making apps and stuff, yeah.
Oh, really neat. How do you like it so far?
It's really interesting because I'm definitely the arts performing type person. And so like it's really cool to dive into this new world of coding and like be really into it. So that's cool.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because a lot of times folks don't realize the connection between the two. And Carlos mentioned like he saw Toy Story. And so the coding that people actually bring into the arts now and animation. I remember I actually got to hear someone speak and they just talked about, I think it was it Monsters Inc? Like how someone had to code all the hairs on like Sully's body. Like there's like, and how coding is used for art and to help us see these really incredible stories that are being told. So it's neat to see that, because I also like grew up thinking there was this separation of like, oh, you guys do your code thing over here. And now I'm seeing actually how you can make it. Like Mr. C said he was going to show me a piece of a project that he did. It's an artistic expression. Like so it's really neat to see that. Cool. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm excited to code with you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Let's see, we're going to be doing the concentration game project today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, focus on the prize, right? So that's it's essentially like 3-card Monty, like that game where people have like find the lady or whatever you want to call it. Do you know what I mean? Like 3 cups underneath, and they move them all around, and like they take your money on street corners. It's that game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cool.
We'll make that. It's going to be really good.
All right, I'll code along too on mine. I'm gonna open it up.
Awesome. And so remembering, like people who are at home, if you're watching along while we're coding, if you don't want to make it look like we have, if you don't want to do a present or you want to change something else, like just make it look however you want, right? Like it's your project. We're doing it a certain way because that's like our deal, or Jordan might change a few things as we go, right? Like do it however you want, Jordan. Don't stress about it. So make it your own, right? And if you want to open a new Scratch project, everybody, that's the best thing you can do. So go to scratch.mit.edu if you're not already there. Open yourself up a blank Scratch project. We're going to start from scratch, which means we're going to delete the cat first thing we do. So let's get rid of the cat, start with an empty project.
When I was coding this project just to practice, in the project, it made me laugh just because it says like, use the rubbish bin. And I was like, that's so British. A little joy.
Yeah. Some of our instructions are like have
rubbish, not rubbish.
Yeah,
rubbish.
Yeah. But cool. So just add a new sprite. So we'll click on the little cat face down the bottom there, and you see in the search box, like there's a sprite called gift which works really well. But at the end of the day, it could be anything you want, right? Like gift is a nice, like it's a box, so that we can switch it and change it. But if you wanted to do anything else, Jordan, like if there's something else you want to do that's not that box, go nuts.
Ooh.
Up to you. It's your aesthetic.
Oh, I think I'm going to do the box though.
Yeah, cool. It's easy, right? Like it works really nicely for what we want it to do. Yeah. Like to be fair.
For those of you coding at home, let us know what you're picking for your concentration game. If you're going to have the gift, maybe you're going to switch it up and have a dragon. Let us know in the comments what you're choosing to add to your project.
Cool. And then so that box is a little bit small based on the fact that we've got the whole screen to work. So if you click in the little size bubble underneath the workspace there above the sprite, and change it to 150, which make it half as big again.
I see our friend Yolanda saying hi. Hi, Yolanda.
Shout outs to Yolanda. She's a champ. Cool. So what you want to do now is look at the costumes for your gift. So if you go up to the tabs just above where the code blocks are, you see one that says costumes. That's it. Yeah. And you see you've got two. You've got gift A and gift B. So we're going to add a new costume. So click on the cat face on the left there. And this is going to be the treasure that's in the box, right? So this one, make it whatever you want, right? Like in the instructions, it's a gemstone, but you can make it anything you like. So this is what the treasure is. This is the thing you're trying to find. This is what's hidden.
Let's do bananas.
Yes. Nice. I'm down
Get
for that.
that potassium.
So you see, there we go. So we got our bananas costume. Wicked. Awesome. So what we want to do is, now that we've got that added to it, if you go back to the code now, we'll add some blocks to it. Yeah, nice one. So as with most of our projects, we're going for an event, and it will be when green flag clicked. So it's a nice, again, universal starter for those who are working at home. We have the when green flag clicked block, which means that we can start a whole bunch of things all on when we say go. It's like the starting gun for a race. So we use when green flag clicked. And then we're going to have it switch costume, okay, to gift A. So you'll see under looks, which is the sort of purple menu on the left there, second from the top, that's the one. We want it to switch costume to. Yeah, and make sure that top one is the present. So the first thing we want it to do is when we click the green flag, we want it to look like the present. Cool. And then we want it to wait for a second as the present. So under control, you'll find a wait block. It's the orange menu, that's the one. So we drag our wait across. We're going to have it wait. Cool. And so now if you duplicate that switch costume block, so right click on the purple block you've got dropped down there and choose duplicate. It'll be function click on a Mac, I think. Do you know, Christina?
Right click, whatever the right click is. Or hold it. You're duplicating that code, right?
Yeah. I don't know how to duplicate on a Mac. Don't use it.
We're using the mouse with right click. Yeah.
All right, we'll just do it the old school way. So if you go back to looks, you'll grab another switch costume block. And drag that in. Cool. And we want that one to be the bananas, which is fine. So we want it to be a gift, and then it's going to change to the thing they're looking for, and then it's going to go back to the box again. So we want another wait and another switch costume.
Oh, we're seeing folks who are just joining us. Thanks so much for joining, Alex, joining from Citrus Heights, California. You can jump right in. We're coding in Scratch. If you want to open up Scratch, we're going to be making a concentration game.
So when you click the green flag now, it should change costumes the way we want. Cool. Nice. All right, so now we know which one's hiding the bananas. So next step is we want the box to start shifting around the screen like they do when they move the cards or they swivel the cups around, whatever it is that people are using. We're going to use these boxes. So we want them to start moving all over the screen in random ways. And the way we're going to do that is at the top of your code there, if you go to the motion blocks, you'll see one that says go to X and Y. So before you drag it in, if you take the gift and drag it to sort of the left-hand side of your screen, kind of the middle, just so they look like they're all going to line up together if we had three.
Like that.
Yeah, perfect. All right. And so now you see the numbers in the go to X and Y change. So you can move the gift again and the numbers will change, or you can pop the block in and type the numbers that you want it to go to, right? So you see the numbers change again, right? You shifted it and the Y changed, yeah? So it's giving you the current position of your box. So if you wanted to put it anywhere that it started off, you could just drag that box in, or we can set it up with math so that they're all perfectly straight across the middle of the screen. It's your call. It's your game, right? You tell me what you want to do.
How do you set it up with math? You said you can. Yeah.
Right, cool. See, I like that. That's a good answer. I like that. So if you grab the go to X and Y and clip that under the green flag.
Under here.
Yeah, perfect. So the first thing it will do is go to where you tell it, right? If you just literally in X type -150 and in Y type 0, it will pick a grid spot, which is like a perfect spot, and then we can line them up, which will definitely soothe my OCD. Cool. So if you put the green flag now, you'll see it move, and it will change to bananas, and it will change back.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right. And so now using math, we can make sure that they're all perfectly aligned and equally spaced across the screen and all that stuff. It's going to be great. Watch.
Excitement of the perfect line.
Yeah. Seriously, these are the things that I love about coding, right? These are the things that I always loved about it. And the idea that you tell the machine to do a thing, and if it doesn't go right, it's not the machine, right? I made a mistake, and I can fix that mistake, and I'm going to find what it is. And the splinter in my brain until it goes away is crazy. If you go now to events, you'll see there's a broadcast block. We're going to use that one next. So we're going to have it send a message out and wait. So broadcast message 1 and wait. And the message we want it to do, so you pull down that, you should be able to choose new message. We want it to tell it to move, right? So the message we're sending now is, right, we're going to wait, we're going to do this intro, and then we're going to say move, and everything is going to go, right? Everything's going to hear it say move, and it's all going to start moving. Right?
Love the broadcast block. We got to use those last week too.
Yeah, broadcast is ace. Yeah, so it's really powerful block, and you can use them in sort of like cascading loops as well, where they each set each other off and stuff. Yeah, very powerful thing to use. So what we want it to do now is, so when this gift receives move, so when I receive message 1, it's like one with a little bump on top, which means that it starts a new script all to itself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. And we want it to, when I receive move. So we want it to do the thing a bunch of times. So we need a repeat block from underneath the control. Yeah, that's it. Repeat 10. And then we're going to use another motion block. And this one is the glide 1 second to random position. You'll see it's in there. It's pretty long. It's like about halfway down. Yeah, that's it. Stick that in the loop. So based on what we put in, we should be able to click the green flag, have it change to bananas, change back, and then start gliding around the place 10 times randomly. So if you click the green flag, it should do what we tell it.
It should. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so there's our nice gift. Hey, it's moving randomly.
All right.
Nice. It's doing what we want. Cool. And it's going to do that 10 times. And it's going to stop.
What's always wild to me is like we got this thing to show up, show us the banana and move. And we've got so much code already just to make that single thing happen. So it makes you wonder what like Carlos's like computer amount of code that must be in there for like the images that we saw in the models, like the RNA models.
Yeah. And then when you think about the code from AAA games, right? Like if you're thinking about a really big video game like Fortnite, the amount of code that goes into displaying all that and making sure that the pickups work with the cloud server and the computers on the other side of the work, mental. So much work. Yeah, it's crazy. Cool. So that's kind of what we want that to do. We've got our gift, it moves around, and we can fine tune the bits about touching the edge and stuff. We'll do that in a little bit. We don't need to worry about that right now. Let's make sure that we can get the bones of it going. So add another sprite. So we want to click the little cat face down the bottom right, and we want to add another box, another gift. Yeah, awesome. Cool. And so with this one, we want our green flag clicked, and then we want another go to XY block. And this one's going to go dead center, X0, Y0. So a yellow events, click the green flag clicked block. That's the one. And our blue motion go to XY block. And we'll put 0, 0 in them. Use that math to get right.
He's so excited.
Yeah, look, it's going to be so good. So the next thing you want, is that's all it really needs, right? This box, it doesn't have a present in it, and it doesn't need to show anybody that has a present in it. All it needs to really do now is like move randomly, go to the spot in the middle, and then start bouncing around when the other ones do. So when the other one starts moving, it receives move, right? So we want the same thing. So it's an event block when I receive move. So when I hear the first one say move, start moving. And then we want our repeat 10 times, glide 1 second to random position. That's it.
Nice. And just one thing too, we're gonna have to change the size of the second gift.
Oh, good shout. Well done. Yeah, we can do that right now while I've got it selected. If we just do it in the size bar. Well, yeah, perfect, Jordan.
Make it 150 as well.
Yeah, good catch. That would have been a dead giveaway. Why is the big one massive?
Yeah. There's a banana in it.
Yeah, right. Crazy. Well done. Good catch. That would have been hilariously terrible if we'd managed to do it. All right, yeah, so click the green flag, Jordan. Let's see if it does what we want it to do.
Oh, I wasn't watching.
That's cool. Yeah, so they're all doing it. So it changes and does the thing. It does it 10 times and they stop. Wicked. Cool. And then you have to choose the one. So the next bit we kind of want to add is clicking on the box, right? Click on the right box.
It reveals the banana, right? If you know.
Yeah. It'll go, yeah, you win. You got the right banana. So what we want to do then is add, what do you think? We want to add the answers, really, I guess. That's what we'd call it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So like for the first one. Well, we could do the banana box first. So the first gift.
Yeah, banana box first, I think. Click on banana box, yeah. And then we want it to when this sprite clicked, which is an event block.
I guess it was the big reveal, the game answer.
When the sprite clicked. So this is the winning box, right? So we want it to do a looks thing where it will say like a you win statement, like a yeah, good job, or you're correct, or
with the finger guns. You win.
Yeah.
So should it be say hello for a certain amount of seconds or just regular?
It's up to you. I mean,
if you want it to be a certain amount of time, that's like why that block can be really helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it won't do anything else while it's doing that. Is that right? I think that's right about that block, isn't it? It will say hello for 2 seconds and then it will continue on with the script.
Mm-hmm. So that's a really good block if you're making a game that you want like directions on and you want to make sure you give enough time for folks to read it. So like if I'm making like a scratch game, I might have like for 15 seconds, say whatever the directions are for the next step.
Gotcha.
So yeah, just drag in the say block. That's cool, yeah. And then give it an affirmational statement saying that you win. Nice.
Yay!
And then we want it to show them that they won. So we switch costume to bananas. And then it's like, yay. Like,
probably a look one, yeah.
Cool. So that should do it, right? So when we play the game, so if you click the green flag now, they'll move around. We can click on it and it will say you win, assuming you pick the right box, right? So like, I mean, they're not.
I'm focused and following. Okay. Oh,
it got a bit tricky then. That's super tricky.
I think it's the one underneath.
You think it's the one underneath?
I also think it's the one underneath, yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. So there are things now that we can add, right? When we can have it, if we don't want the boxes to touch, because that does make it tricky. So we could add some code to prevent the boxes from touching.
Yeah, we totally can. I think before we do that though, because I'll forget otherwise if we don't do it now, is to add the no, like the you lose.
Oh yeah, good point.
Code to the not winning box, because otherwise we'll forget to do the no you lose part. So if you go to the gift one, the bananas one, you can actually just drag your code over. So if you grab that when this sprite clicked, drag it across to gift 2. So yeah, grab it, drag it over, hold it over the present underneath the workspace. You'll see it will do a little wiggle. That's it, let go. And now when you click on gift 2, your code should be in there.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. And then so instead of say you win, obviously we need a less positive statement.
I'm not going to put it in all caps because that's
if you're coding at home, this is an optional piece you can add. You don't have to like emphasize that someone lost. You could still just put like
unfortunate. Better luck next time. Right?
You're like, it's okay. You can try again.
Oh yeah, try again.
Nice. Try again is a much more affirmation.
Yeah,
it's a better way to put it. Cool. And so instead of switch costume to bananas, which it won't understand because it doesn't have a costume called bananas, we want the block that says hide under looks, so it will just disappear if it's not the right one. Yeah, that's it. Cool. And so that means, though, that we need to put a show block underneath your green flag. Otherwise, it will be invisible the next time we try and play.
Under right here?
Yeah, perfect. Right in there. Just slot one of those show blocks in.
No.
Yeah, at the top or underneath. It'll be about the same. It doesn't really make a huge difference. It'll do it.
I'm seeing our friend Ali in Arabic. What are you putting, Ali, in Arabic? Is that yay or you win? Let me know. I'll check back in.
Cool. So that's, you can get rid of switch costume to bananas as well. Just put hide above it and then drag switch costume out. Yeah. Because we don't need it. It won't understand it. We don't need it. It can just go in the bin. Just drag it off to the left.
Oh
yeah, because it doesn't, there's no potassium in that box.
No, there's no snack here. Cool. So that's cool. It should work. And then you should just be able to duplicate the second gift. You should just be able to.
Yeah, so you should be able to, right click it.
Oh, wait, we couldn't figure out how to do the right click.
What kind of computer are you on?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay, so maybe 2-finger click.
Yeah, it's 2 fingers, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, there it is.
Yes!
Duplicate. There we go. Cool. So now all the same code will be on gift 3, right? Like it will do the same. It will do exactly the same thing. So yeah, if you want to click the green flag. Oh, wait, no. Gift 3 needs to be put in a different place. Tell X to be 150. Otherwise, it will be in the middle.
Oh, right here.
And Mr. C will lose his mind.
Math. My funky math part. My favorite math bit. Real nice when you start it off. So if you click the green flag now, they'll do that really satisfying line up in the middle across the screen thing. And
Ooh, okay, that's part of the. Remember, this is all about look after yourself. That was a real nice, like, boom, right. Straight line. Felt good, folks. It felt good.
Those straight lines, I like them.
Oh, I wasn't looking to see which one.
Okay, everyone has to guess.
Cool. It's good. That's good. That's good. Now we're going to test our no boxes.
Okay, I'm going to try this one. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not that one.
Oh, no. It's working.
I found it.
Bananas. Rad. Add clapping sound. He's right. We need to add clapping sound. He's 100% right. Yeah. If you go up to sound, click on gift 1, and then go up to the sounds tab and import a cool sound, definitely. Oh. So you see down the bottom left, there'll be a little picture of a speaker in the little blue stripe menu. That's it. And then there should be one called clapping, or there'll be cheer. There's a bunch of them.
Cheer.
Cool. And so when we go to the code, underneath where it says you win, you'll be able to drag your sound block in now under the pink menu there, or the puce menu, I think.
Oh.
Up a bit, third from the top. It's the sound one. It's like a different color purple. That's it. Play sound cheer. That's the one. Yeah, drag it in. That's it. Cool. So the green flag. Let's see. It should do our sound.
Right, focusing. Oh no! I feel like I lost it already.
I also already lost it.
That's okay. Like we'll just test out our no blocks.
Yeah. That's fine. It's fine, right? It's cool.
Okay.
We're first time. Change the bananas.
Oh, should I put it under the switch to bananas so you see the bananas first?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep, and it will change the bananas and then it will play the sound. Yeah, drag the bananas one up. That's it. Cool. Sweet. Nice. That's a cool game. I mean, we could add like a speed thing to it, right? So we could add a variable called speed and then we can make it move faster. Yeah, cool. So if you go to variables, and then click make a variable, we'll make one and we'll call it speed. Yeah, cool. And then if you go to your gift, you'll see it says glide 1 second to random procedure. So underneath the green flag, let's set speed to 1. So right at the top of your code, you'll see, green flag, you see set my variable to 0. Grab that one, drag it in, change that to speed and 1. Oh, you just use the pull down menu. That's the one. Yeah, set speed to 1. Cool. And then so we're going to do a little bit of funky math. So I know in the instructions it says you put speed into the glide 1 seconds, but then all you can do is make your game slower, right? Unless you start messing with it. But what I thought we could do is if you go into the operators block and you grab a divide, so that's the slash. That's it. Fourth one from the top. That's it. Slash. Drop that into glide 1 seconds. And then, that's the one. So in the first hole there, type the number 1 and then drag your speed variable into the second one. So the maximum you're going to get is 1 second to glide there, which is the speed we had it at, which is about a normal speed, I think. You only really want to make it faster from there. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to move, as you go up towards 100, it is going to go towards 100th of a second, right? So you'll be able to have a speed variable. If you now double click on the speed variable in your screen, you see where the gift is in your actual game screen, and it says the word speed, just double click it. It should, and one more time. And now you've got a slider that can make your game faster, right? So if you go to your, grab that green 1 divided by speed bubble again, the green block, and drag it onto your other 2 presents so it duplicates onto your other gifts, just the green part. Yeah, that's it. Just duplicate it on. Yep, let go, and do it to your third one. And if we slide them into all of your glide 1 second blocks now, you'll have all of them, and you can just ratchet the speed up and they go like insanely fast.
I remember when I first figured that I was doing a project that it showed me how to use the operator block because I was struggling, or because if you don't do that, shout out to fractions, but if you don't do that, then you have to put decimal points in, right? Because
yeah, exactly.
Variable is only going to go up 1, 2, 3, so you'd have to put 0.5, 0.25, 0.00005.
Exactly.
So now you can increase the speed, and that'll increase the time because you have a larger denominator. Again, shout out to fractions.
Yeah.
Totally.
So at speed 40, if you click the green flag now, you'll see that it will it'll bust. Like it's going to move at like a 40th of a second. It's going to right? So they're going quicker. And now if you jump speed up, so if you drag the slider up, because it always sets it to 1, you watch them go.
Oh, wow.
Right?
That was so fast.
Oh, I can't.
Right, they go wicked fast. So in order to stop that from happening, if you go back to, well, we can do it anywhere really. Go to your gift 1. Go to gift 1. This is where we're going to do it. This is how we're going to do it. So up under your script where it has the green flag, go up to underneath your green flag and grab a sensing block. And so you'll see ask what's your name and weight. Pull that in underneath your green flag. Cool. So underneath what's your name, get rid of that message and type how fast would you like to go, or what difficulty 1 to, I'd say 15 is probably as high as you would really want anyone to go. 15th of a second is not much. And then give them a range of numbers 1 to 10 or 1 to 15. And it will ask them how fast they want to go, basically.
How do you...
Oh, so you just type it in. I would put it in brackets. I would say 1-15, just so that they know what the range is, so they don't type a million, and then you end up with a super impossible game.
Oh, yeah, they can choose.
And then where it says, see the little bubble underneath where you drag the block from that says answer? Plug that in where it says set speed to 1. It'll be set speed to answer.
That's set speed to...
So you can just grab the little blue bubble on the left there in the menu where the blocks are.
I see it.
Yeah, that's it. Plug it in where the 1 is. Dope. And then click the green flag, and it will ask you how fast you want the game to go, and you can tell it.
Let's say 7. Oh, that's cool. Oh, whoa.
So that's it on 7 difficulty, right? That's 7 difficulty. So it's way more difficult now.
I don't know which blocks.
I don't know. We'll get. I'm gonna, just because of the layout, I'm gonna go with the top one.
Okay.
Oh, unlucky.
That's okay. Our code works.
Oh, wow.
We got there in the end. We still win, right? We still win. It says so.
Something I'm noticing too is when we're clicking on the one that's wrong, shouldn't it say try again? What happened there?
Because I think it's hiding. So I think it's hiding before we have a chance. So when it says try again, you could ask it to wait, or you could have it say try again for 2 seconds.
Right, and that's where that code block can be helpful, right? You have the one where
block.
it holds the time so that you actually see the words try again. Because since we have, it's doing try again and hide at the same time. Yeah, there we go. Give it a couple seconds. Right. I love some words of encouragement, so I wanted to make sure those showed up.
Yeah, good on you. It's good that you're keeping it positive for us, Christina.
Always
about the mechanic.
Always.
The player will love the mechanic. It doesn't matter if you're rude to them, until they just love.
No. Oh, I see Geo Marster. I think that's Alex. I'm pretty sure that's you, Alex. You said you missed it, but don't worry. This is the stream always gets recorded, and we always post a recap blog at rpf.io/home. So if you missed his coding and you missed hearing about Carlos's awesome work with plants, you can definitely go to rpf.io/home to see the recap blog about this stream today.
Yeah, that was cool. That's a cool game. That's fun. I like that. And then obviously you could add a new backdrop. I mean, and the extensions in the instructions are to add a distractor, so something that shows up that tries to drag someone's eye away from watching the gifts.
Yeah,
there's a few things you could do to it. You can add wacky sound effects or all sorts of things. But that was cool. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, that was fun.
Awesome.
It was so much fun. Thanks for joining us, Jordan. And Jordan, we had a shout out from someone saying that they really appreciate your positivity and your empathy for the player. So to have the try again, and I'm like, yep, exactly.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. and good luck with senior year. Could we ask you? I know you said that you're doing school from home right now, so could we ask you to join us again in the future?
Yes, please.
Yay. I realized I asked a question. I was like, oh no, what if she says no? Yeah, she said yes.
I'm
you
good.
can just like try again.
All right.
Well, thanks so much, Jordan. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, I love when I hit my elbow when we're coding those games. Like, I think it's always really neat to see just how much code we just had so much code just for the first gift, right? And then we didn't even get to the point we were talking about adding it where it wouldn't touch the edge or the boxes won't touch each other at the end. You have to keep adding code more. So it makes you really think about what goes into the games that we play, online, the games that we're playing on our Switches, on our PS4s, how much code goes into the actual logistics of the game, which is really neat.
But that process too, the process that Jordan and you and I just went through, putting that game together and saying here's the bulk mechanic, right? Here's the big thing and how the big part of it works. Make sure that works, right? Once that's working, then you add a couple more bits and make sure they all work together. And you make sure the whole thing works as a unit. And then from there, like we're saying, if we had more time, we could fine tune bits. We could add a little bit of functionality here, make sure they don't touch the edges. And all games are developed that way, that's how they start off. It's get your, if it's any game like Fortnite, the first thing they would have had to do is get your player to run through the world. Cool. And now you do that, then it can interact with picking stuff up, or it can open doors, right? After you've got that base thing and you start from somewhere, then you can add more. And that's always our ethos here, right? Is do something, make our thing, make it better.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Oh gosh. Well, that was a lot of fun. Thank you. Shout out to Carlos and Jordan for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll be back again next week. Well, I won't. You will. I'll be off next week.
Oh, good. So just me. So it'll be a little bit less of Mr. C teaching things and more of Christina learning things. So
I love it when kids come on and teach us stuff. Those are my favorite ones.
Yeah, we're super excited. Next week we've got our stream. Also, if you are a friend in the United States, we're actually going to be doing a live stream tomorrow. You can join us. I'm going to be doing some beginner Scratch. So me and Matt are going to be jumping on. It's at 3:30 PT, 6:30 Eastern time. And we're going to be doing one of our first projects in the Look After Yourself pathway. So I'm really excited about that. So definitely join us. If you're new to Scratch, new to coding, if you know someone who is and you want to get them excited, they can code with me tomorrow.
That'd be so cool. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to watching that stream. It'd be really cool.
Yeah. Thanks, friend. Appreciate it.
I'm genuinely excited. I'll be watching. I'll be logging in and watching that stream as soon as it kicks off.
Possibly with a baby in your arms.
Possibly, likely. I better go check. I better go find out.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's it. Wow, what a great time.